All right, today I'm just going to teach you a little bit about these documents that you will have to fill out whenever you get a new job. I want you to be aware of them and what's important about them so that you don't just get overwhelmed by lots of words and grids and just have no idea what to do. So the first one is called a Form W-4, which I have showing on the screen right here. And you can also open this up and play around with it yourself. But the whole purpose of this form is to make sure that your employer is taking out the proper amount of taxes so that whenever it comes around to tax time and you have to file your income taxes, you won't owe more money. That's the goal, is that they're taking the right amount out so that you'll just have to verify it at tax time and not owe any new money. So, the important things on this form I have highlighted here. Step one, your personal information. You're going to need to list your first name, middle initial, last name, and your social security number. And a side note here is that you always want to fill this out with your proper legal information. So, even if you go by your middle name, but your legal name is your first name, you want to make sure that you're writing down the right information. Otherwise, you're going to be subject to some unintended fraud. Um, you also want to double check that the name listed on your social security card is your legal name. And if there's any problems with that, you want to get it fixed right away. And there's a number right here where you can call Social Security and get that fixed. The next line says address. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit more, make sure you can see it. Your address, your city, state, and zip code. So that should be pretty straightforward. Now, the next part right here is the tricky part that if you've never seen it before, you may have no idea which of these boxes you're supposed to check. So the first one, single. If you are a single person, you are not married, you don't have children, you're not supporting anybody else, then it's pretty straightforward. You're going to select single. If you're married, you have to choose whether you're filing separately or filing jointly. And a good rule of thumb is that you get more tax deductions if you file jointly, meaning you get to keep more of your income and pay less taxes. So if you're married, probably you're going to select the second box here. Widower means that you have had a spouse die, and that's a whole nother situation that you'll probably want to Google just to make sure that you know whether you are a qualifying widow or widower. Head of household is if you are not married and you're supporting someone else. So if you're married, you are not a head of household. This is, for example, if you are supporting yourself and you have a child, or you're supporting a sibling, a disabled uh, family member, even your parents. So if you're not sure if you qualify there. I just did a quick Google search and went to TurboTax, had a great article here about what qualifies here. So the child does not have to be your child. It can be a lot of different kinds of children. Here you can see adopted, stepchild, foster, sibling, step sibling, half sibling, grandchild. But the key is that you're supporting this person. So you're paying your own bills, at least half, and you're supporting someone else under the age of, it says 19 here. Now, it doesn't have to be a child though. Here it says qualifying dependents. So yes, a child, but also siblings, or your mother or father, stepfather, niece, nephew, all kinds of other people. But basically it's like if you're paying the bills for you and another person, and sometimes they don't even have to live with you all the time, then you can qualify as head of household and get additional deductions. So if you think that's you, go do the Google search, look through all those requirements, and make sure before you have to fill this out at your employer. Now, the next three sections are optional. So if all you want to do is fill out that step one and then skip down to step 5 where you're going to sign your name, then you're done. But I'm going to quickly look at what these other optional things are and why you might want to fill them out as well. Step 2 is about if you have more than one job, or if you are married and your spouse also has a job. So if that's you, again, you're just trying to make sure that you're getting the right amount of taxes taken out of your paycheck, not too much, not too little. And there's a form, or there's a second page. Scroll down, page 3, multiple jobs worksheet. So you can quickly see on here what information they're going to need from you, and how to fill that out, whether you have 2 jobs in the household or 3 jobs in the household. And there's also, this is a little crazy, but I just want to show you what it is. Another page here that you can look at both of your jobs and you align them on this worksheet right here. So say one of your jobs pays 30,000 and one of your jobs pays 10,000. So you'll kind of see where the two meet. Stop it. And that information is going to be used on that worksheet. We're not going to go into that worksheet too much, but just know that it's there, and that if you do have more than one job, it might be a good idea to go ahead and fill out step 2 to make sure that you're getting the right amount of taxes taken out. Step 3 is about dependents. So if you have qualifying children under age 17, then you'll enter $2,000 in this blank for each child. If you have other dependents, so that would be anyone over the age of 17 that you're supporting, $500 for each one of them. So again, you want to make sure that you look at the definition of dependents and make sure that you're not claiming someone you're not allowed to claim. That's tax fraud. And then you'll total that. And then you have other adjustments. So most of this is regarding if you have investments, retirement income, if you have another job that you don't want to tell your employer about, you can just enter a dollar amount there of extra money that you would like to have withheld, but you don't want your employer to know why you're withholding it. Then you can put all those things there. But again, steps two through 4 optional. If you see this big confusing form, all you have to do is do step 1 and step 5, and then you're done. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and note that this is a lengthy document, but the second page is all just them explaining everything that's on there. So if you forget what I said or you want to know, does this apply to me, you can read that if you need to. And then the third page is only if you need to use the multiple jobs worksheet, or if you want to figure out your deductions. So those things like, it says right here, qualifying home mortgage interest, charitable contributions, medical expenses. If you have a major surgery or major hospital stay in a year, then you can deduct that from the amount of taxes you have to pay. And just don't stress out about this at this point, because all of this stuff can be adjusted whenever you file for income taxes. But the point of the W-4 is just to make sure that the employer is taking out what we think is the most accurate amount of taxes, so that at tax time, you're going to be even Steven. And then the last page is just how you figure out how much to deduct if you have more than one job in your household. There are also worksheets online that will, or calculators rather, that will do all of this stuff for you. And it's right here, www.irs.gov. Sorry, I can't highlight the right thing there. Oh my gosh, / W-4 app. If you go to that calculator, they'll ask you questions, you can enter in stuff, and it'll tell you exactly what to put on this form. Another thing to note that's important about the W-4 is that if anything changes, like you get married, you get divorced, you have a child, or you have a dependent who starts living with you, during the course of you working at that place, you need to go to your employer and ask to update your W-4. And that will make sure, again, that you're getting the right amount of taxes taken out of your paycheck and not anymore. Now, the second form that you'll probably be asked to fill out is this one, employment eligibility verification. And this is just verifying that you are legally allowed to work in the United States. So if you were born here, you're a US citizen, and it's only that complicated, then this is a really easy form to fill out. You do section 1, again, first and last name, middle initial, address, date of birth, social security number, and telephone number, things like that. Basic stuff that you have to fill out on any form. And then the next section is asking what type of citizen you are. If you are a citizen of the US, you click the first box, you go down and sign. You say, I did not use a preparer or a translator to help me with this, and you are done. Now, if it is more complicated than that, then you have to go through and select the proper status. And there is information on, maybe I saw it online. Yeah, there's information online to help you through exactly which one of those applies to you. The other thing that your employer is probably going to ask for is some sort of identification verifying that you are the type of citizen that you said you are. So note that we're going to skip through page 2 because that's what the employer fills out. You don't need any of that right there. But the last page is showing you what kinds of documents are allowed for you to show as a verification of your citizenship status. So it says here that you can present one from list A. I'm sorry, my highlighting is not working, or a combination of one from list B and one from list C. So if you have one thing from list A, such as a US passport, that's all you'll have to show your employer to verify your citizenship. There are some other things down there, but that's going to be the most common thing that people have or need. If you do not have a passport though, you will go over here to list B and C, and notice that you have to have one thing from this column and one thing from this column. So driver's license is a common one. If you don't have a driver's license, you can use the school ID card that has your photo on it. If you can't find that, then you can use a school report card if you're under 18. From this column, Social Security card is the most common. If you don't have that, can't find it, a certified copy of your birth certificate, and there are some other things there as well. So that's really all you need to know on this one. Again, this is just to verify. It's really to save the employer some legal ramifications if they were to hire someone who is not legally allowed to be working in the United States. And it's not about you.